What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday morning, just about 9 o'clock. I've been up since 6 because today is a clinical day, and instead of being in the lab or at the hospital, we are online. So my assignment basically opened up at 7 a.m. and then we have till 3 p.m. to complete the assignment. So it's definitely a little bit different. I'll go over like what it looks like because I feel like there's a lot of curiosity around online clinicals, and I really do hope that this isn't something that if you're starting nursing school, you know, or an accelerated program in like a future date, I really hope that this isn't something you'll have to deal with. But if you're currently in nursing school, or if you know, have been in nursing school through this pandemic, you'll kind of understand this weird scenario. A lot of programs, including mine, have had to get really creative getting in all the clinical hours we need, because that's, I think, part of the requirement of like getting a BSN is having X amount of clinical hours each term. So I feel like they've just had to get like really creative and do alternative stuff. And I don't know, I have my own feelings on it and things that I think would have been like more helpful or less helpful. It's definitely a crazy time and everyone's just adapting as quickly as possible. I will be in the hospital next week, so I am very, very excited about that. I am over on my clinicals. I believe I have my OB clinical next week. I'm like dying to assist with the delivery. I think I want to be a labor and delivery nurse or like a certified nurse midwife someday, and I am just like itching to help with a delivery, and I just feel like it'll just be like so interesting. So anyway, let me show you what we've been doing today so you can get an idea of what online clinical looks like. So you saw earlier that I had to watch this video on pregnancy during COVID. And then my other more actual assignments, written assignments, are firstly, so this is a patient care plan. So we are given 8 scenarios and we had to choose 3 to do a care plan. So I finished 1. This took me about an hour, a little bit over. I think the others might go a little bit faster now that I know what to expect. But basically, this is the scenario I chose for my first one. So we have a 30-year-old patient. This is her first pregnancy. She's at 28 weeks. And she's been admitted because she's experiencing abdominal cramping, pelvic and lower back pain, vaginal spotting, and it's suspected that she is in preterm labor. So basically, this is what our care plans look like. They might vary, but I have a feeling that most care plans you're gonna see are gonna look pretty similar. So we would provide the pathophysiology, in this case of preterm labor, identify any assessment data that would bring us to believe the patient is in preterm labor. So that would include like the reports of abdominal cramping, pelvic pressure, and then things that you can actually, objective data that you can actually measure and see. So you could look and see if the cervix is dilated, if any membranes have ruptured, that would indicate that the patient is actually in labor. Then you would identify 2 nursing diagnoses. These are things that if you're not in nursing school, I feel like I was pretty intimidated by nursing diagnoses, like trying to figure out how would you even know what to do, but it kind of follows a pattern and a structure, and there's like certain things that everything falls into like a category. So it's actually one of the more interesting things I think that we get to do and learn, and obviously that will take you through your whole career. Then you want to develop a goal for each of these and what interventions you would use to reach these goals and to help with these nursing diagnoses. So like if the client has anxiety, you want the patient to verbalize like an understanding of the situation and express that they know how it's going to be managed and what the potential outcomes could be. And a way to reach that goal is that the nurse would explain all the procedures and interventions that would be taken, possible outcomes, and encourage the client to express any fears or concerns they have to reduce that anxiety that would come with preterm labor. What lab values would you use if you take labs to assess the situation, and any medications that might be ordered. The other 2 things that I need to complete are I take those 8 patient scenarios that we were given and I'm gonna order them in rank of priority. So which patient would I see first and why would I see them at first? And then I have a drug calculation quiz too. I mean, it's a practice quiz and it's open book, open internet. So it's not really like that high stakes. I think it's just about getting more and more practice under our belts. That is what my clinical day looks like today. I'm really hoping it doesn't take me until 3 o'clock. I think that if I just keep plugging away, I actually could get this done pretty quickly, but you know, it just takes time, and it takes time to make like well thought out answers and stuff. And then as soon as this is done, my next priority is to study for my med-surg exam that is on Friday. So that is on respiratory systems and diseases and all that good stuff. And it's a lot of material, so I really would like to get going on that. But I've got to make sure that this gets done first, and then I'll move on to studying for my test. Let me know in the comments below if you are experiencing this kind of clinical. Let me know if you're back in the hospital, and I'm really curious about how that has been. I'm hopeful that clinicals won't look like this for much longer with the vaccines rolling out. It's obviously been a very, very slow rollout, but I think that we can get there like pretty soon, especially with healthcare workers being on the front lines of getting the vaccine. So hopefully there won't be many more clinicals like this, but in the meantime, we just got to make the best of it. So Sean had his like just yearly all company meeting, and it's where they announce their like big company award, which is basically like employee of the year for 2020 and employee of the year for 2020. So we're celebrating tonight. It doesn't take much for us to make an excuse for just like a buttload of Indian food. So we just placed an order and just like gave our soul away to Grubhub with all their delivery fees.
I really wish you could enjoy the bread basket with me. It's like a real shame that you can't eat
The one thing about Indian food is I can't eat the naan because gluten.
And the naan's the best part.
And the naan might be the best part. Yeah, is that a controversial thing to say?
I don't think so. I think people like naan.
I know. I think it's the whole like picking it up with the naan, and then you have like a tiny
saucy rice and bread.
Yeah, you have like a tiny Indian burrito every time. So I do miss the naan. I'm not gonna lie. I still love Indian food, but the experience, it's just not the same. And we're finishing The Bachelor because we got interrupted by a test review last night.
Who are you rooting for?
My favorite is, I think Katie's crushing it on the like shutting down the bullying thing, which I like. But I don't think she's gonna win. Who do we think is gonna win?
I don't know.
Maybe
I asked you and I have no idea who I think is.
Let me know who you think is gonna come out #1 on The Bachelor. Really big fan of Matt James. Think he's crushing it.
Good guy.
I know.
Seems nice.
Yeah, he seems like a really good guy. I guess studying is gonna have to wait because we gotta celebrate.
Oh. Stand up, do a little stretch, walk around your house or your apartment. Just gotta remember to move. Sometimes I find myself just like sitting. I think I said this yesterday, just like sitting
all day long because I wake up, especially like busy days, I start to work and then next thing I know it's like time for dinner and I've only stood up to like go to the bathroom and eat. So I just was like finishing up watching like something for class and I was just standing behind my chair, like just trying to stand a little bit today. Thursdays are like pretty brutal. You saw my schedule earlier, but I have class like in the morning till noon and then 2 to 5, and then today I have a review session from 6 to 8. And the only reason it's kind of hard to have that busy of a day is I typically have tests on Friday. I really have to use that time between noon and 2 to study, and then between 5 and 6 tonight. I'm not that great at studying at night, so probably after that review session I'm gonna just do some last minute review and then call it on this test. But right now I'm doing some practice quizzes for my respiratory exam, the one I'm talking about, for Friday. I also have this study guide. It is 17 pages long. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about this exam. I think this is probably the hardest one I've had yet in nursing school. Yeah, I hope it goes well. I feel like every time you have a test, whether it's like the first test of the semester or your first test ever in nursing school or like the first test in a certain class, it's always scarier because you just don't know what to expect and like how detailed you need to get, you know, what's really important to study and what's not as important to study. So this is kind of how I feel about this test. I feel like it could either go really well or like really poorly, but all I can do is like study as best as I can and try to do well. And if I don't do well, I'll just try to learn from that and see what I did wrong, how I could study better next time. I think that people put like way too much emphasis on getting, you know, A's all the time, and it's not always really about that. And as much as I love getting an A on a test, and I really do, it's not the end of the world if that doesn't happen. All I can do is try my best and put in the work, and the rest isn't really up to me. It's just about, I don't know, how the test goes. I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow around 10 o'clock when I'm done with this test, and I can just take a little bit of a break and then maybe do some assignments for the weekend. But Fridays, they feel really good. Oh, I just finished my respiratory test and I feel kind of like I was hit by a truck. I don't have my grade yet because they need to like go through them, and if they, you know, give points back or whatever, which like hopefully they will. But wow, that was like definitely my hardest test yet. You know that feeling when you're like going through the questions and you're like, I don't know that one, but that's okay, that's fine, I'll skip it, go to the next one, we'll come back to it. And then the next one you're like, okay, I don't know that one, but I'll skip it. Maybe we'll just like go to the end and start from the end and go back, and that'll be better. That's kind of like the vibe that was happening with that test. But I mean, I don't know. My class group me is like freaking, like just blowing up, you know, like it's kind of nice to have everyone be like, yeah, that was some BS on that test. But at the end of the day, like it is what it is. Tests, they're gonna be hard. I feel like nursing school is just like notorious for difficult tests and like multiple answers that can be correct. You know, that can be really frustrating when you go through a test and you're like, these two answers could both be right and I cannot figure out which one it is. You know, once your ABCs are over with, it's really kind of hard to prioritize after that. But yeah, that is over now, and you know, there's no time to waste. I just got to start working on cardiac I actually have 2 weeks of that, which is good. I guess it just means more material, but I don't have a test next week. I am actually getting my COVID vaccine today. So I will be heading to campus, you know, in the next hour or so to go get that. I'll let you know how it goes, and like I can update you guys maybe next week on like side effects and all that. But right now I need to eat something to fill the void that is that awful exam. All right, you guys, I actually did it this time. I got the first round of the Moderna vaccine. I'm super stoked. It was really easy. I just went in, signed in, and I don't know, they called me and then I just had to wait like 15 minutes and then I left. I sat down and I was just super nervous. I don't really love shots in general, but for some reason this just felt like so big and I wanted to film it, but I actually got chatting with the nurse who was administering them, so I didn't want to like whip my phone out and interrupt our good conversation. But it was super, super easy. I'm starting to feel a little soreness in my arm, no different than I have with any other vaccine. I'll stay tuned for any kind of side effects. I'm not like worried at all about side effects. I know I might get them, I know I might not, but I am very, very, very happy to have had the first round. I'm excited to get my second in about a month. Most of all, I'm just really excited for everyone else to get it so that we can go back to seeing each other and normal life and going outside these four walls. My test didn't go that great today, but I did get my vaccine, which is huge. You know, I do want to say just one more thing. Like, I've already said this, I feel, but if you have a test that doesn't go that well, doesn't really go your way, it's gonna suck. It'll be a bummer. I don't know. I don't think it's realistic to say that it won't. But the only thing that you can do is keep moving forward. And it doesn't mean you're gonna be a bad nurse. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean that you're gonna bomb every test forever because you don't know how to study. It's just one test. And that's kind of what I've been telling myself this morning and just trying to keep it positive. I know that dwelling on this grade isn't gonna get me a good grade on the next test. What's gonna get me a good grade on the next test is if I just buckle down, get some work done today, build my study guide, and study slowly over the next couple weeks until the next exam arrives. What a busy week. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe because I put up new videos every single Monday. I'll see you next week. Bye.